How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to TheBlueShifting and welcome back to ReWrite, where, I guess, we kind of accidentally stumbled into something. It was actually really cool. Last episode was amazing and really fun for just, like, the theory and, like, the world building and crafting. Like, working with the theory, like, literally the theory, which is the big manuscript that kind of simulates human futures. Kind of seeing them tweaking and like working with it, kind of establishing the idea of what the theory was doing and what it was capable of accomplishing and what Kagari was trying to do. And then Kotarou, after some hemming and hawing, trials and errors, and kind of just thinking, he decided, you know what? I don't know if it'll mean anything, but I'm gonna take a short little message, compress it down, and I'm just gonna insert it into the theory like a signature, like an "I was here." Turned out it completely changed everything, and sent a projection far further than he expected. Kagari looked at it, and then she looked back at him with like sorrow in her eyes, which is not a great feeling. And then she just vanished, and now we're under attack by apparently more than anything else. And I said that what I think happened is that while he opened up like another like almost infinite number of new possibilities by somehow by inserting a tiny little message, which is cool. But I theorize that what's happened is it's also invited innumerable more Sakura invaders, like multiple versions of a Sakura who understands where we are, what this cognitive kind of space is, and now they're all trying to invade us. But at the same time, Kagari is gone, so what are they even invading for at this point? Maybe they just don't know that, or maybe Kagari's still technically here, but maybe her form just changed. I think it described her as turning into a flower, but I don't know. It's the key. We don't know what that is. So anyway, the music's real intense, and I'm not sure what's going to happen, but it was too important to keep going on last week. So here we are. Let's see what happens. And I've got a feeling we are in a no-win scenario here now, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think what happened is that having a human involved in this process and inadvertently make that little addition, I think might have made all the difference in the world. Which is kind of cool, because the idea, I think the message was something like, it's like, I will return, or I will, let's see if I can actually see it here. Yeah. Someday we'll meet again. Like, if that sentence, that little, like, subconscious concept borrowed into the minds of sentient life, then someday we'll be together again. Maybe that just gives humanity the hope it needs. Maybe that helps with certain tipping points of preventing people from just going bananas and doing something ridiculous. But yeah, anyway, enough theorizing. Let's jump right in. There are too many to even count. Akane sent her scout bird out to observe, but gave up on trying to establish an accurate count.
300よりたくさん。戦力差もここまで来ると笑ってしまいそう。
That's great. Legions of familiars began to appear in town.
一斉に攻め上がってくるつもりらしい。
How?
まともに対応できる数じゃないですね。どうするの？
Kagari's finished her research.
本当？任務完了？
Not quite. Right now, I think she's in the process of implementing the theory. Oh, that also might be what spurred them on. But it's gonna take some time.
その間、守ればいいんです？
Yeah.
どのくらいかかるの？
I can't say. It could be 10 minutes, could be 100 years.
確実にあいつらに襲われる。
I'm sorry. I know it seems futile, but please. We need to protect her at all costs. Oh. I mean, we gotta remember, we're all essentially cognitive fragments. We're cognitive shadows. Just... cognitive shadows on the cave wall. We're not really who we are. Like, we're almost purely conceptual versions of us, so technically it's not the end of things if we die, but because we're not really alive. But at the same time, I don't care. It's gonna hurt to see. But I have a feeling we're not making it out of this.
わかっている。
無論ね。そのためにいるんだし。
I agree.
そうですね。
Lucia, Did you set up that trap I asked for ages ago?
罠を隠すには森の中と言ってな。
たくさん仕掛けてある。
ただまあ、すでに罠の数より敵が多いわけだが。
Hey, but that's something. It's okay. We don't need to eliminate every single one of them. Quick, let's decide our formation. I get it now. The peace I found in the Occult Research Society will be no more. Now that the theory is complete, there will be no such tranquility for me in the possibility of births. Oh, is that maybe why? I don't know. Kagari really seemed to like look at us with like it's described as she looked at us with pity. Is that because we inadvertently sacrificed pretty much the happiness and what brought us the greatest peace in our lives in order to bring about this in the stretching eternities? Like, is Kotarou essentially sacrificing himself throughout all realities and all possible futures because the message involves him personally? But that gives humanity hope. I mean, what sucks about that is that could be one of the greatest gifts someone could give to humanity, and yet I have a feeling that it'll also be something that literally nobody would ever know or even understand or conceive of. Even him. I think in the reality, whatever reality ends up becoming the most canonized, whatever his life is, he'll never understand just how critically important he actually was to the future of humanity. Because an echo of him that was tied to Kagari because she was part of his body and made him a pseudo-familiar that was essentially partly the key, allowed him to enter into this cognitive space as a human, an echo of a human, which gave him the concept of imagination and self-determination that the key could never emulate, which is pretty interesting. I like the idea of that almost paradoxical circle that allows for this to happen because it makes a lot of sense in a really interesting way. Because it came from that blank spot. The path to the future is illuminated by the torch of a theory, leading into the possibility of the unknown. I, Tennouji Kotarou, will live in pursuit of that flame. I will follow the possibility we discovered here, erasing that blank spot when I slept away the years will likely lead Tennouji Kotarou down a crueler path than before. He won't spend his days laughing and messing around with his friends. He will live at a different time than them. But here at the end, I might as well show them. Ooh, big music. The power that peace gave rise to. Because it's here within me right now, even if it'll be lost in the possibilities to come. I'll fight to the bitter end. We decided where we'll each take up our posts. More than 700 familiars have already been sent to this world. It's clear the intention is to completely annihilate us. I can't even imagine the strain this must be placing on Kashima Sakura. I could fracture her very mind. She's pulled out all the stops. Messages pop up on my phone screen. Looks like everyone's in position. Lastly, images from the scout birds I've temporarily contracted with stream directly into my brain. This way I have a live visual of the situation on the battlefield. Okay. God, it's getting real epic here. Do your thing, Kagari. I speak to the bud behind me. Is this the Song of Destruction? It is. A soundless song shakes the air. It could be called the Song of Destruction or the Song of Rebirth. Either way, it heralds the dissolution of the world, the cadence of the heavens and the earth, the music of the celestial spheres that stretch across the universe, played by miracles on the strings of all things. Thanks, Kagari. There's still so much I don't know, but at least this seems like we might have a chance to redo things just this once. A world different from what came before, constructed by the theory, a world of undefined possibility. The me who will be born into this world won't be me, the me I am now. Despite the note I left, we probably won't meet again. The new me won't inherit the current me's mind or memories. I pray in earnest. I hope with all my heart that this attempt becomes Kagari's gift to the world. An overwhelming presence swells into the existence in the corner of the town. They know where we are. I'm not scared of disappearing. The prospect of failing to complete my objective is far more terrifying. I feel the ground rumble beneath my feet. Oh boy, she sent some of the big ones. The hoard is on the move. The The charge is led entirely by instinct. The familiars all move at different speeds. Since they're not arriving in a uniform front, we can pick them off as they arrive. I draw my sword. The vanguard reaches the area Shizuru and Lucy are defending at the foot of the hill. That makes 23. The little dinosaur melts into oily, tar-like puddles. I quickly step back from their remains. These new familiars don't break down so quickly. Their decaying bodies remain behind, releasing pollution into the air. Some explode while others disperse on the wind. This is their attempt to give the chemical substances that they're made of a chance to deal some damage to Kagari. The only saving grace for us is that while these familiars are more vicious, they seem to be less individually effective. Okay, so it's now quantity over quality, and that's kind of working in our favor, but unfortunately, numbers is a game we can't really win. The first wave of attackers finally trails off, but that was only the warm-up. Hundreds of familiars still remain to be dealt with. I check up on Kagari. Her chrysalis has shriveled and fallen apart, and in its place stands a single sapling. It's still young and green. It won't manifest power until it's had a chance to grow.
Tennouji! Mata kita!
Alright, Yoshino. Yoshino appears with a spear in his hand and his underlings in tow. He points toward 3 o'clock. A pack of shadows is drawing close.
Temeera, kiai irero!
His gang raise their voices in whooping battle cries. How many have I slain now? Stop counting, around 50. The familiars come at us from every point of the compass, breaking on us like waves. Our defenses are scattered.
小太郎、9時方向に魔物の群れ、中型3、小型7。
Right.
小太郎、
Sorry, just need a minute.
ちゃんとなさい。あなたが落ちたらおしまいなのよ。
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering if the others are technically like almost familiars. So if he were to drop, they would lose their cohesion and just disappear. I know that. So over near the station, you said? I'm on it. I don't see Yoshino anywhere. I don't know whether he's been carried off somewhere by the flow of battle or whether he's already gone. Don't think about it. Part of my blade is broken off. I didn't notice it fracturing. My energy slightly depleted, I launch myself back into the fray. Oh, I wonder if Kagari's in her like stasis mode, maybe the flow of the Gaia energy is not continuously like pouring into him, and so he's on like a limited amount. Like he will run out. Here we go. Oh, look at them. That's cool. A group of them straight ahead. I charge straight for them. Owning in a mid-sized creatures in front of the pack, I take it down. I let out a primal roar from deep within my belly. Take down the 3 and the 7! The battle rages on. My communications with Akane are now far and few and far between. She must be busy providing backup to all the others. There's no time to use our phones. Wherever I look, it's a sea of monsters. I cut through them methodically. Some of the familiars are managing to reach Kagari. So far, she's staved off any fatal wounds, but cuts are building on her trunk. Her song continues. She hasn't given up yet. Dang it! My aurora won't fully harden. It's because the mental concentration is waning due to fatigue. I won't form into a blade. A single hound is heading straight for me. It's one of the exploding ones. Oh, great. Crap! I'm not gonna make it. Or so I think, but then something streaks in front of me. Ruba! Kotarou must have sent it. Ruba hurtles ahead and crashes into the hound. Its huge fangs pierce through the familiar. And then... boom. Sorry, Kotarou! She's lost her precious pawn. They all have our backs, though. I slay beast after beast. Am I making a dent? My hope is fleeting. Another vast, murderous intent starts to coalesce. A third force of enemies. They're materializing in the town again. 100, 200. Kashimi Sakura is sending them in waves. It's too much. I feel like my legs are about to give out.
Kuso!
I'm glad you're still here. Yoshino comes tumbling out of the forest, broken lance clutched in his hands.
Tennouji! Nanda aりゃ! どんだけなんだよ! Kashima ってやつは!
I don't think it's just one. I think it's multiple through multiple realities. Come on, he must be having a great time with this.
クソがてめえには貸し100だからな
I'll pay it in full if we when we get out of this. Yoshino grabs a new lance and disappears back into the forest. And attacks increase in intensity. They come in methodical waves, each one depleting a little more of our physical, but mostly our mental energy. The familiars push forward through the gaps in our defenses. This is what, like, real war must be like. Like, we always dramatize it in movies and all that stuff, but, like, medieval, modern, whatever, I think it mostly must feel like this. It's like, the numbers aren't even the big thing. Like, we always over dramatize numbers and stuff, but frankly, it's like every fight would probably feel like this. This chaotic, like, are we gonna die? Are we gonna die? We gotta try. We have to fight. We have to do it, everything, put all our energy into it constantly. Go, 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 go. Like, just that intensity, that terror. And especially if you're in something like really dire, like a situation like this, where you're surrounded, you're cut off, you have no hope of reinforcements, you don't get a chance to have a break, you can't sleep. That alone would be so terrifying. They have no regard for the traps we laid. Maybe they're working, but it doesn't feel like it. Either way, the traps are more a tactic to keep them corralled. If our enemy were human, the traps would give them pause in their pursuit. With familiars, they have no such effect. Kotarou and Chihaya stretch out and kill the familiars that make it through. I man the borders to deal with any stragglers. The mid-sized familiars in the shape of dinosaurs are the most dangerous, so I focus on those. But even this arrangement is starting to crumble.
小太郎、無事ね。
All good.
中2、小13の集団がそちらに向かっているわ。
Oh gosh, that's 15. 15 total, huh? When they form a group, even the familiars that are easy to pick off when alone become a formidable force. While you're facing off against a single one, the rest can swarm around you. I'll have to take them by surprise. No, now, not only do I have the others to depend on, but once I've penetrated the pack, creating an opening to withdraw is going to be difficult. The pack of 15 are coming this way. It's more than I can handle alone. I should retreat. But where? Where can I retreat? Okay, I'm on it. There's no fleeing from this fight. Prez, if I'm incapacitated, you're in command.
わかったわ。小太郎が消えたら、私たちもそう長くはいられないでしょうけど、この命くらいはかけてあげるわ。
From Akane, that's the highest compliment you could ever have. I love you. Over and out. I'm no longer going to worry about my energy reserves. Concentrating on my Aurora without thought for consequences. I'm gonna use my killer move while I still can. The familiars come rushing out from between the trees, but they're scattered rather than bunched together. They won't all be within my range. 7, 8, I need at least 2 more. 9, 11, now! Extend! I fling my Aurora out a sideways sweep and it hardens in midair. The whip-like blade stretches out, cleanly bisecting multiple familiars at once. How'd you like that? I immediately discard the blade. I've lost so much energy I feel lightheaded. Oh, I weave together a new blade and get in position behind a tree. Just 4 left to go. One sinks into the trunk. Its fanged maw clamps around the wood like a dog with a bone. I thrust out from behind the trunk straight into its cranium. A familiar pops like a balloon. The explosion singes the bark. Oh my gosh, look at that! That's such a cool shot! Oh, it's so sad though. Lucy is the first of the Occult Research Society members to disappear. I mean, it makes sense. The ones who are going to be fighting on the front lines most directly, most, like, physically, are going to be the first. It's Lucia, Chizuru, and Chihaya. And then probably Kotarou and Kotarou, and Akane probably last. She was taking on a 60-strong group that appeared during a momentary separation from Chizuru. It was a fierce and terrible battle. Chizuru now holds their position alone. Next, Kotarou bows out. Aww. Having lost all her familiars, she abandoned her position and made a run for the town. She was undoubtedly trying to create a diversion. Dang. At least 4 familiars gave chase. Akane wasn't able to confirm her final moments. Kashimi Sakura insults the monsters, intuits the moments when we lose members and our defenses are weakened. The familiars she summoned are a huge mix of creatures, but in the midst of the struggle, the ones that can move at high speed splinter off. These surprise attack units conceal themselves as an ambush and rush at the chinks in our defenses. Chihiya's team deals with these. Hey, Sakuya! He's pretty strong still, looks like. Sakuya disappears next, trading his life to take out a group of ridiculously powerful mid-sized familiars. This is when Akane joins the front lines. Oh my gosh. Just sends like her little bird out. The scout bird isn't made for combat, but we have to use everything we can, lest the influx of enemies gain too much momentum. By flying at a low altitude, it can stop the low-level familiars in their tracks. Once Akane joins the fray, our communications become fragmentary. My cell phone stops ringing. In our final communication, I hear that Yoshino's lost 2/3 of his men. Everyone's entirely focused on the fight at hand. The music is so good here. Ha! After slaying the last one, my knees give way. I crumple to the ground. How long have I been fighting? My body's covered in wounds I don't recall sustaining, and I don't feel pain, though. I'm in serious trouble. For a warrior, being unable to assess his own injuries is an extremely dangerous state to be in. Just then... Oh, look at that, the aurora! The hazy outline of the hill begins to glow red and green light. She started. Everything that makes up this transient world will return to the omnipotent power. The power, harboring a vast amount of data, illuminates a new hope for the world. With this wondrous scene at my back, the fourth wave of familiars transfers in. Wanted to zoom in on the image, but the vision disappears. Concentrating hard, I feel around for my connection with the scout bird. I can't connect to it. Akane, you in this fight? I call her cell, and it connects. Hello. Oh, man. Instead of Akane, it's Yoshino who answers this call, his tone anguished. I see. You did more than enough, Yoshino. I get it. Don't feel bad about it. Oh man, that acting. God, that voice acting, that delivery was really good. That cough really sounded real. There's a wet note in his breathing, like fluids in his lungs. Oh. It's gonna be real lonely here. You did. You won. Last man standing here is the real loser. But only this time. Gonna whoop your butt next time, in the next fight. Aww. Gosh darn it. Sounds like what I'm gonna ask on my that's probably the most important question that'll be for me when I'm on my deathbed, when I'm saying goodbye to the world. Did I help? Did I make a difference? Because like Yoshino, I feel like I'm woefully outclassed by like 99% of people. You sure did. I was able to be a loner because you wouldn't accept me. Did you get it? If I weren't alone, I would have been happy with my human connections and nothing more would have come of it. I would have been content to stay right where I was. The search for possibility would always be a lonely journey. Sure, you might find a little happiness in your small relationships, but in exchange, you can't set out on a long journey. I understand that now, here at the end. That's actually really true. I was thinking about that. I was contemplating, because recently NASA had a a trial run, essentially, where they asked for volunteers to live in complete isolation in a simulated Mars hab, like a dome with the base expected amenities and some of the equipment that they anticipate they would be trying to use in a Martian colony or a Martian like long-term base. Essentially, I'm thinking not really like colony. I'm thinking more of a research station, kind of like the International Space Station, but on Mars. And they had them live for a year, like unable to communicate with the outside world, having limited access to like, media or whatnot. And they recently came out and they kind of express their experience, and they're collecting and processing the data right now, which they're probably going to use to build the foundation for a Martian. Like I said, colony is not really the right word, because I don't anticipate it's meant to be like humans will come here and just live here for the rest of their lives. It's more of a like outreach post or research station. And I remember thinking about that, and I was like, part of me, I remember when they were recruiting for it. And I technically qualified at the time. And I was like, I would love to go do that. But then I thought about, my family and my connections and everything. And I was just like, that would be really hard. I don't think I can just drop everything and go and do that, because I have other people who are like, kind of relying on me being around. And that might be what he's kind of referencing here. He's saying, look, if you have connections, if you have a family, a loved one, dependent parents, children, even just really strong friends and friendship groups, you can't just drop all of that usually and go on a truly long, arduous, single, like, isolated journey. Because in your heart of hearts, you'd always be trying to go back to that rather than accomplishing what you need to do. And so, in the end, maybe that's one of the reasons why a lot of the heroes in the stories we read tend to be alone in at least some way. Because if they had people, if they had roots to put down, they probably never would have gotten to the point where they'd start that journey to begin with. Pioneers are nonconformists. People can only choose one or the other.
複雑な話だが、なんとなくわかる気がするぜ。
That's an interesting example, because my ancestors were pioneers in a sense, but like they went across the west United States back in like late 1800s, early 1900s, when you had to like sell everything you had, get your whole family, throw them in a wagon, and just try not to die when you went across to claim some land. That was something that my ancestors legitimately did. So yeah, you can have family and connections and be a pioneer, but I imagine it's so much harder. And it's a lot to force, like, I don't know, children to do. Like, it's almost hard for me to imagine, like, parents who are, like, willing to literally walk across the continent, like, on foot with, like, young kids and just make it happen, make it work. Like, that's crazy. We're eternal rivals, Yoshino.
永遠のライバルか。そりゃいいな。
Yeah.
最高にマッハだぜ。
Yoshino?
はいもう時間がねえみてえだ。
His voice is thick. The life is fading from him fast. Yet he manages to raise his voice to one last powerful cry.
最後は派手にぶちかます。それが俺に吹く風だ。観客なんざ一人もいねえ。俺に似合いのラストギャグだ。そうだろう。小太郎。
Final gig without a single spectator. Yeah, damn right. I'm counting on you. Haruhiko. My vision blurs. I hate this. I hate this so much. Now remember, Yoshino blew his top at me at our classmates. It was totally justified. I didn't show an ounce of gratitude to them for all their support. I was such an ungrateful little turd. He should have hit me 10 times harder. This is what he was trying to show me. And it really is the machest of mach. I don't know what that's supposed to be, but okay.
Goodbye, my brother! See you in the next life!
Fetch me. What a decent delivery of an English line. Holy crap. Goodbye, my brother. What a funny way to put it. Yeah, see you in the next life, brother. At the final yell, Yoshino Haruhiko hangs up his call. A single sob escapes my throat. I'm exhausted beyond belief. The attacks are weakening. The constant flow of familiars is trailed off. It's time to reassess the situation. Call Shizuru and Chihaya over. Impressively, Shizuru is still in good shape, but Chihaya is covered in blood. You need some of my life force? I can spare a bit.
いりません。こっちを長持ちさせるより、小太郎が使った方が強いです。
Well, that's Sakuya. I wonder if she's just essentially a human now. The only weapon Chihaya has left is her lance. Help me out, Shizuru. We're gonna erect a barricade.
わかった。
Aww. How is she just so on top of things all the time? She's so impressive. Shizuru and I get to work while we let Chihaya rest.
しかし、なぜ急に襲撃の手を弱めたのか。
Who knows? I'd like to think that maybe she's too tired to keep sending them at such a rate, but...
それはないと思う。
Oh, fetch. The heck? Shizuru and I both raised our eyes to the sky at once. Oh, that's what it was. She pulled out a big one. Several familiars suddenly swooped down from a great height, aiming straight for Kagari. Kado! The dirty trick. There's no way we can defend against an assault from above. Chihaya, help!
頼むって。
Shizuru throws a knife, but it slices through empty air.
どうかのようにはいかない。
We have no way to fight against them. Chihaya positioned herself as a shield, spreading her arms out wide and tipping her head back to stare at oncoming force. Look at that pose. Look at that. They did this pose just for CEs in this specific section. That's crazy. It's cool. So Chihaya will be the next to leave. It happens suddenly. A black shadow streaks by. What the fetch? As the shape intersects with the familiars, they're shredded to pieces.
あれは。
大丈夫ですか、千早さん。
Wait, is that again a real Sakuya? Oh, it is!
Sakuya!
Oh my gosh, hello! Oh, my bro! What are you doing here?
手段は長くなるので説明している暇はないですね。ナイスタイミングと言いたいところですが、
yeah.
かなり遅れてしまったようで。
Frankly, being here at all, that's great.
何でもいい。手伝ってくれるなら大きな戦力だ。
Absolutely.
ええ。実のところ、ここに来てから動き通しだったので、
So
少々疲れ気味なのですね。
maybe that means that our team, in the world where Sakura is fighting from, where she's fighting us from, maybe our team is still there and they're planning to help us from that dimension. I realize that his right hand is drenched in a dark liquid. Right, makes sense now. He's the strongest familiar by far. So it's you who's holding them at bay. The huge force.
ええ。私という存在の全認識を持ってこの場に立っているのですから。
Oh my gosh, so he's really aware of what's going on here.
いかなる世界の私よりも今の私が強いはずです。
Oh, that's genuine. Okay, first of all, holy crap. That sounds like he could rip the planet apart. Secondly, he still got wounded. Right at the last minute, our strongest possible allies come running to our aid. We can still do this. Okay, you can probably take the airborne ones, right?
ええ。飛べはしませんが、あの程度の高さまでなら跳躍できるかと。
Alright, we have hope again. Okay then, can I count on you to clear the skies?
お断りいたします。私に命令を下していいのは。
Right. I forgot he was like this. You're so annoying.
でも、この状態だと別に契約してるわけでもないじゃないですか。
やる気の問題でして。では千早さん、ごめん。
はい、目標はこの魔物軍団全滅させることです。大暴れよろしくお願いします。
Okay, sure. I mean, I trust him, so that's fine.
承知いたしました。
Go. He immediately complies, stepping back into the forest like a shadow.
まずはトラップの準備だ。
Sure.
大丈夫だ。
彼なら安心して任せられる。
Oh, I know.
そうですね。
He's as strong as Shizuru. If he can scatter the hordes up there, then we'll have an easier time defending here.
確かに策を練ったある一定空間での戦闘なら彼とは5分以上に戦ったが、
Do you know how terrifying that is? Because remember, he's like the strongest familiar, and we've seen what he's capable of. And she's saying, and you know, she never like lies or like she's always just straight laced and says it as it is. And she's like, all right, if he can't maneuver away from me, and I could lay a trap, I could take him down.
私の能力が有効に働かない屋外での戦闘では
I guess
例外なく私は彼に負けている。
she does have her like, you know, nullifying ability. I guess that's probably what she's banking on, but yeah. He really is the strongest member of our team. Oh boy. Shizuru and I put together a barricade of spikes that look like something out of a historical drama. We position it strategically so it's surrounding Kagari. Chihaya and I are stationed within the barricade while Shizuru's outside. Shizuru drags a wooden box full of round rocks the size of softballs out from some bushes. Taking up our individual powers into account, she's the only one of us who can really fight in the open. This will be our last line of defense held by the three of us. The aurora borealis that blurs into the distant ridge line gradually contracts. It's already engulfed half of Kazamatsuri.
あと少しだな。
Yeah, it can't come soon enough.
来ました。
The familiars arrive in droves, knocking down trees and swarming over them. Sakura is keeping the airborne ones at bay while the multitude of creatures on the ground are starting to reach us.
使いどころ。
Yeah, do it. She severs the rope connected to her trap. Several logs tumble from the treetops, rolling down the slope towards the oncoming hordes. And I know there's better examples, but all I can think of is Star Wars, like The Return of the Jedi, rolling like the Ewoks doing all their traps with like the rolling logs. The barrel over the front lines of the familiars, but it only delays them for a moment. The next, they're pressing on us again. Dang, gotta say the situation looks kind of hopeless, and it's really loud.
思っても黙っててください。全く同感なんですから。
Chihaya's fingers are bone white and trembling around the handle of her spear.
ボム発見。
Take it out. Shizuru pitches a rock into the crowd of creatures. It hits the hound square in the head, smashing its skull. Even with the cranium, its momentum keeps it from running for several moments until it finally falters and stops. Abruptly, its front legs crumple. The next instant, it explodes. We can use them against them if we target them properly. The familiars are either to either side of it or caught up in the blast. The battalion is thrown into chaos. This is why you're called calling a specialist. Even from this distance, she managed to pick out the self-destructing type. Shizuru throws rock after rock. With each one, more and more familiars are wiped out.
こちらもやりましょう。
Oh yeah, never mind. Look at this one. She's actually got the spear in her hand this time. Yeah. Chihaya thrusts her spear at the familiar, trying to chew its way through the barriers. At the very heart of the battle, Shizuru moves with a methodical precision. With the knives in both hands, she fields attacks from every angle. She dodges like she has eyes in the back of her head. She never misses the chance to drive home a hit. But eventually, I can hardly believe what I'm seeing as I watch her identify attacks from every direction, evading them while delivering a roundhouse kick that splits a hound's skull. It's like every moment's a puzzle she's uniquely qualified to solve. Under the same circumstances, my life is in the hands of luck. We are worlds apart. Shizuru is aware of everything going on around her. There's a good shot for her. Boy, I'm gonna have a tough time deciding what my thumbnail will be this time. A hunter's instinct magnified 1,000-fold. Shizuru has taken down far more familiars alone than Chihaya and I combined. I'm glad to have her on our side. With her here, we can make it through. Just then, Shizuru slips in a puddle of blood.
Oh.
Oh no. Not like this. With her reflexes, she's recovered her balance in less than a second, but that's all it takes. In that tiny instant, Shizuru dies. Nearby Dionysus sinks its teeth into her neck. Her eyes go blank. Her right hand twitches like it's alive with a will of its own. She plunges the tip of her blade up through the creature's chin. It must be pure instinct, then. Teeth lose their grip as the jaw is torn apart. The lower jaw hangs loose, but Shizuru stands stock still, her expression frozen in place. God. I throw a spear. Finds its mark and the familiar melts into tar. Chihaya loses the opening to grab Shizuru around the waist and drag her inside the barricade. We don't need to stop the bleeding. The wound itself is already closing up. If it's just a flesh wound, Shizuru's body disintegrates into sand. Human beings are fragile creatures. We aren't invincible. Not even people of Shizuru's power. Kashimi. Sakura! The familiars try to break through the barricade. I use my aurora to kill them. Everywhere I look, I see gaping maws. Holy crap, it'd be like trying to fight Tyrannid. Oh no. We're surrounded. The long barricade creaks in protest. It won't hold out much longer. Or Beta. Beta are scarier, I think, but no, actually, I take that back. I don't know what's scarier, Beta or Tyrannid. They're both pretty freaking terrifying. I think Tyrannid are scarier because they're a lot more efficient, but Beta are just on an... Ugh. Like, at least you know when a Tyrannid's coming for you, like, you know exactly what it's designed to do. Beta, you don't know. They're just terrifying. Chihaya, I'll hold them back. You strengthen the barricade. I feel a sensation like a vacuum opening up behind me. I can no longer hear Chihaya's panting. I turn around. Glittering droplets fall from the slash-like mouth of a familiar that's made it over the barricade. Within those sparkling dust particles, I catch a glimpse of a wing-shaped barrette. Oh my gosh. A murderous rage surges through my blade. Leaning into the spin, I slash upward. The familiar's head goes flying from its shoulders. I quickly kick the corpse away so its pollutants emitted won't harm the girl under it. But Chihaya's body's already gone. She vanishes. Crap! Sakura! I raise my voice in a yell, calling down the man leaping through the skies.
そうですか。千早さんとしずるさんまで。
Yeah. This is endgame, I think. Even as he speaks, he uses his bandaged right arm to knock a familiar to the ground. The guy's power depends on the movements of his physical body. And no matter how strong he is, there's still a limit to how many familiars he can handle on his own. It's kind of ironic that we're the last two standing.
3人ですよ。あなたの愛しの眠り姫がいるでしょう。
Yeah, she is. I send out a lance of aurora, spearing several dinosaurs like kebabs.
小太郎くん、
I tear. What? I slice.
いつかあなたは私の運命だと言ったことがありましたね。
Interesting. Can't say I remember that far back. Sakuya's hand and my aurora simultaneously quarter a familiar.
あなたは私の運命を超えていった。運命線のその先まで塗り替えていくのがあなたでしたね。
So yeah, he's coalesced from all the different worlds. He has a really unique perspective and he can see it. Because remember, he and I, well, he and Kotarou are essentially the same, if not the same. Like, I still have there's still that potential theory that he really is a reincarnation of Kotarou himself. Very possible. Like, I really feel like it was trying to hint that. So I do genuinely think that has credence. But, even if he's not, they are of the same material, essentially. Similar fate, similar construction, similar capabilities. But he's recognized something. He's recognized that Kotarou has been replaying, revisiting, and hopping, essentially, or at least a central focusing point of the theory. It's almost like he's a living theory in himself. He goes about changing things and seeing different realities, because that's what we are. We're the ones piercing the veil and seeing the things that he sees and can retain memories of these different branches properly. It's really cool because it's like we're actually a part of Kotarou. Like, we're not passive observers, we're not passive players. It's like we're actually a small sliver of him, a part of his subconscious that can understand and kind of relate with and make decisions based on what we've seen and observed in other routes. Which is really cool.
私にはできないことが小太郎くんの力には秘められている気がします。
Is he telling you to rewrite him?
私にはこの場に立つことも新たな可能性を想像することもできなかった。
We continue our conversation intermittently as we face off against the unending onslaught. You can be pretty dramatic, over-dramatic, huh? The same power, the same fate. Maybe it's because I'm based on you? Acquired characteristics. Perhaps that's what our connection is built upon.
また来ましたね。
From above, huh? Countless points of red light shine against a section of the sky. They're here to put an end to all this.
さて、打つ手はありますか？
Absolutely not. I can confidently declare that. I absolutely do not. We've just got to give it everything we've got. That's all we can do.
ええ、その通りです。では、やれるだけのことをやりましょうか。
Sounds good. Honestly, that smug smile of yours and the way you always have to have the last word,
はい。
somehow it really gives me confidence. You know, now that I think about it, I feel like when it comes down to it, whatever you were around, I always ended up relying on you.
そうですね。私もいつもあなたの手助けをしてきた気がします。
Go get him, boss.
もちろん。小太郎くんごときには及びもつかない方法で。
You know what? I'll take it. I'm counting on it, bro.
任せておいてください、兄弟。
Right. We'll smile together even at the end. That will never change. Even if it's all an illusion. No, I didn't summon him here. Which means that... No way. He said it himself. The full cognizance of all my many existences. In other words, all the decarnation cognizance of each desperate Sakura have converged here. A thunderous roar resounds through the world. Oh, it's his demon form, of course! How did I not even think about that? A single tree begins to expand and develop its surrounding forest. This is Sakura's final form as a familiar. He brought it here, which means... That idiot. All his fates are tied to this place. Every possibility of him will lead here, where they will ultimately wither and die. I don't know how far the world of possibility extends. All I know is that Sakura will inevitably end up here to meet his end. In coming here, he closed the book on his own fate. Sakura's strong limbs seize the familiars in the sky. The huge body that once simply stood there pulses with life. It's so loud! The familiar's poison rains down on it. At long last, his arms crumble. The huge body crumbles next and transforms into a single huge withering cherry tree. But even now, his leaves continue to swallow up familiars and his branches trap and trip them. Then, having achieved its goal, the cherry tree falls apart. It shreds its leaves and divests itself of its branches. The entity known as Sakura is gone. Never more to exist in any world affected by what happened here, and any of the many possible worlds that will spring forth. Fetch me! So wait, if we do another playthrough, another round, he just won't be there? From now on, he can only ever exist within a truncated, closed-off world. This was our last goodbye. The word forever doesn't even begin to cover it. He chose for himself the fate of the cherry blossom predestined to scatter. I'll remember him as the last one here. At long last, it's just me again. I allowed my mind to wander for just 2 seconds. In that time, the barricade has fallen, with creatures scrambling over it. It's like a switch is flicked in my brain. The final switch. The one that allows me to fight without thought for anything else. I'm prepared to never again return to being human. Oh my gosh. I cut off every part of humanity. Fighting is my entire existence. I don't tire. I don't feel sadness or pain. I slash at them determinedly, never staying in one spot for more than a second, using whatever I can as a shield. I don't make the dent in the flow, no matter how many I kill. Everything around me is a sea of familiars. That gnashing sound I hear must be their teeth. It doesn't bother me. I turned off my fear a long time ago. The overwhelming sound of battle gradually grows distant. I'm about to pass out? Not yet, it's too soon. Thankfully, my body still moves with precision. I'm on the autopilot. My consciousness seems to watch the battle from above as though from a third-person perspective. I distantly comprehend that it's a dissociative state brought about by intense concentration. The barrier is completely collapsed. The familiars are sinking their teeth into Kagari's trunk. They're clustered around her, filling every inch of space. They force my way through the throng. In exchange for my recklessness, my ear is torn off. I cut down familiars clinging to Kagari, slicing into their backs. At one point, they push me back. I fall, get up again. There's a familiar. I kill it. Another, I stab it. Another, and another, and another, and I kick them to pieces. My potions coat my body, eating through my skin and permeating my bones. I try to get to Kagari. My forward momentum is abruptly stopped. I'm being pulled back. My left hand, a familiar has locked its giant maw around my left hand. It shakes its head, dragging me this way and that. My arm joint bends backward, and then the weight abruptly disappears. Released from its grasp, I'm hurtled to the ground. My left arm's been torn off. Oh well. I head towards Kagari. They slice through familiars, they bite me, I stab them, they rend me apart. One makes off with a chunk of flesh from my shoulder. Another my torso. Oh boy, this is getting fun. Another bites out of my calf. At last I lose my right arm, the arm I used to fight. Now that's it then. The familiars swarm over me. Their backs form a pile on top of one another. I'm being crushed. Countless fangs pierce into every last inch of my body. And that's when the world turns red and green. Farewell. I hear the soft words. Farewell, Tennouji Kotarou. Gentle reverberations. I'm terribly sad. The sensation of being pulled gently up is terribly tender. I'm floating upward. And I'm not the only one. Everything is rising. The familiars, the trees, the town, even the earth itself. It's all coming apart and being swallowed by the sky. Everything's being absorbed by the theory. To be disassembled, encoded, and folded into it. Thank you. Thank you, Tennouji Kotarou. For caring for me when I was being selfish. That's fine. It doesn't matter anymore. That's not what falling in love is about. Tennouji Kotarou said that he wanted to see me. But we won't see each other again. Because you hate me? I don't hate him. But I can't forgive him. Why? Wanting an eternal honeymoon is a sin, after all. Life must be endured in loneliness, after all. Strength is needed to endure this long loneliness, after all. That's a very sad way to think. So sad. I'm sure humanity will understand that someday. A place where not even light can reach. Wait, Kagari, aren't you coming with us? We're heading towards the sky. Towards the night. No. The moon. Towards the moon. We're heading for the moon. Passing through the corridor in the sky that connects the moon and the earth. Will we try again on the moon? After we've returned to Earth? After we've ruined the Earth? The moon. The huge pale moon. It's too big. Unease swells within me. A chill creeps across my skin. I'm in space. I've passed out from the Earth's atmosphere. The moon. Oh. We were always on the moon. Is this? I look down at the surface I was on before. It's become a desolate white wasteland. That must be the Earth. Yet not a single building or tree or plant remains. It's a vast expanse of uninterrupted white. Like the surface of the moon. We were always on the moon. Interesting. Oh. All at once I know the truth. The place we were was the moon. The moon covered by an omnipotent power. Its surface area is so limited. A garden civilization. Since when? Since the moon was born. At that time, life took up residence in the pair. Kagari is a twin. But only one that flourished was Mother Earth. But it failed? Oh. I think I said that way at the beginning. They were two planetoids. About the same size. Well, one was bigger than the other. But they smashed into each other. And one became the Earth, one became the moon. Both were seeded with life. They smashed together. But only one of them could harbor life. So you could almost think of it like a twin project. And the moon, whilst enriched with life, gave its life and gave its potential up to give the Earth the need it had. Because remember, without a moon, life really was hamstrung. It wasn't capable of being as successful because of things like, because the tides were so helpful in developing and establishing life. So, 2 planets with the potential, one sacrificing its potential and becoming an eternal guardian. Because remember, it protects the Earth from asteroids and stuff too. That's really, really cool as a concept, to feel like, oh, the moon's alive too, and its whole purpose, it dedicated itself as a protector for the planet. It was clear that there's no time for a do-over, and so the moon reached out, and then the possibility. However, that's not something I can forgive. These feelings that I shouldn't have, but I did. I returned what was stolen, and now I return to nothingness. The dream I needed to see has already been seen. Well, wait! I no longer have a voice, nor a body. Even myself is fading. I was part of this theory all along. I don't care. I cry out within my very soul. Kagari! She's standing there. Oh my gosh. So that's the whole thing, is she's the spirit of the moon. And the whole purpose that she's done, she's dedicated the life force of what was left of the moon, this like failure essentially. And she worked with the Earth to try and find a way forward for it. She's continuing to give up her essence in order to protect the planet. And that's why she's so alone. Because we're manifestations of the Earth. We're all essentially partly entities, partly familiars of it. She's the familiar of the part that failed and left all by herself to use all the power of that life, but without context, to try and save the life of what's down there. All by herself. She alone remains as she sends us off. I've returned to the natural order. She was the only one with a celestial body from the start. So I must endure this loneliness. So long as I have these memories, I can endure. That's enough for me. Fetch me. The moon's resources are meager. They were only enough to birth Kagari. Life. Life didn't spring forth. Even though the moon's part of the Earth has lush vegetation. The moon has cold, hard rocks. Did she resent it? Did she hate it? She was surely capable of keeping us there forever, even if it meant the future falling to ruin. And yet she's returning us to the Earth. Is that why she cried? Because she realized that there was a way forward, and that meant that her work had to be completed, which meant that it had to be sent back, which meant that she would have to be alone. How silly. How foolish. I suppose that's love. Bye, Kagari. So is that really it, though? It's really cool to hear the music, though. I didn't realize the song had lyrics. Go. Go on a journey of 1 billion years. Reach humanity once more. Go on a journey. Godspeed, humanity. It's like she's watching us, sending us off. Like the whole of our existence. Don't look back. Please. Do not look back. Because we will still be in each other's arms. But isn't Kagari there? What are we supposed to do with that, though? She learned a lot. She was able to feel emotions. She shouldn't have to just sit there. That's that life energy. Is all just being poured back to the Earth? Yeah. It's moving further away. Departing the moon and heading towards Earth. We cross the corridor of life. And second time we've crossed this path. Beautiful. Earth, our home. Our home planet that we've been away from for so long. A dead planet, desolate and devoid of life. We're gonna start over. However, Kagari isn't there. So that's part of it? Neither am I. All we can do is pray. All we can do is hope. Is this supposed to be our world? The one that has potential? And reach out to an invisible hand. At the very least, I should etch these feelings into my mind. I should record them. But no matter how much I write down, the omnipotent power will immediately take it all apart. Except for the message you embedded in it. That's still there. Yeah. A miracle won't leave behind thoughts or emotions. At least, let me hope. If someday you're able to reach the stars, I want you to find the girl in the moon. That's really cool. That's me. So he cowers all alone. I want you to go and visit her. That's what I wish for deep within my soul. The flow of power is caught by an enormous mass. The power of the Earth's pull. I slip down the corridor, falling apart. So this is it. I can no longer maintain myself. A great task awaits. I must join forces with the others to fulfill my task. The anguish of creation awaits. The thing that was once me mixes together with countless others, forming a colossal flow on its way to Earth. It passes through a thin atmosphere, a rugged brown, and extends below. Molded by the movements of the bedrock, the land has formed one gigantic continent. Hundreds of millions of years later, it will break off into several smaller continents. Coming apart, we rain down upon the surface. Some into the dried up seas, some into the atmospheric currents, some onto the mountains. The planet trembles beneath the blessed rain. First, to fill it up to the brim, and then start. Let the cruelty of natural selection begin. That's me. What a way to phrase it. The girl on the moon, completed moon. Let's see what this looks like. Oh my gosh, it's just the moon now? ReWrite. There it is, there's the new one. Terra. Oh, baby! Okay, well, here we go. That's the end of Moon. What a journey that was. What a finale, too. Like, I don't even know how to interpret a lot of that. Like, it's implying that Sakura, even that Kotarou, aren't going to be around in this new incarnation of the world. Absolutely Sakura. Like, I really tried to spell that out. I'm guessing that Kotarou will be here, but it's not going to be any Kotarou that we've seen. Like, he's not going to have any resemblance. In fact, what if he's pure human? What if this is going to be the world where he's not connected to the key? Because that just couldn't happen, because Kagari apparently also isn't there. She's still on the moon. What's left, like, her essence essentially is there, because she sent all the Gaia life force that was on the moon to the Earth to kickstart it into a final, like, potential where it's not just theories anymore, which is like, so that's the whole idea. Is like the moon was a conceptual space of the theory before Earth life started, because it was like, all right, let's find the best possible route. We found it, and now we gotta let it go and just let it happen. See what we can bring about. So yeah, and that's what Terra's supposed to be, apparently. Wow, that's freaking crazy. I'm blown away by this. That was a incredible sequence. I really ended a perfect time last week. I'm so happy this episode was it's like the perfect length. It was the perfect amount of content. I didn't have to stop or take a breath. I just got to experience that whole final fight. Like, holy cow, that was insane. And now what? I have no idea what's gonna happen when I push that button. I'm so excited to find out, but I'm also really terrified. But man, what a great journey. What a great experience this has been. Wow. There's a reason this game has been so treasured. Unforgettable, really. I'm very excited to see how this goes, but I also know that this means that we're approaching the end. Like, I'm sure we have a lot of time still, but like, this is it. Like, I know this is the last route, whatever it is. I don't know if I get to make choices or if it's more of a canonized ending, kind of like Muv-Luv. Because like Muv-Luv, you make choices through Extra and Unlimited, and then Alternative is like the core timeline where major events are shown. It's like, this is the path. And I wonder if that's what Terra is going to be. Is like, is this the path, the theory? Like, is it going to just play out and we just get to kind of, like, with all the context, get to witness it? Really cool. It's also sad though, because it means we're almost done. I mean, I'm always happy because it means there's more journeys to explore, and we have Harvest Festival, which should be coming out fairly soon. But even then, what a game. Very happy with this. So thank you for being here. Thank you for joining me for this adventure. Hope you enjoyed yourself. I certainly enjoyed myself, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what this takes us next. It'll be really exciting to see what journeys lay ahead, and ultimately what our stories will kind of coalesce into. Hopefully something remotely happy. But knowing reality and the fact that this is telling a story, it won't be as clear-cut as that, and that's okay. But thank you so much for joining me. Thank you to the patrons and members who make it possible for me to like make content like this more often and to throw myself into it with a wild abandon. I hope you're having a good time with it. Thank you for your support. But anybody who's watching, leaving likes and comments and all of that, also, like, you're just as supportive. It's just as important. Thank you so much for what you do. Even though it takes very little from your life, it means the world to me. So thank you. So let's take a breath, and next week we'll start Terra. So until next video watching me, I've seen me in next. I'll see you there.